Are you looking for the best OLED Smart TVs? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best Smart TV on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Samsung 65-inch class OLED 4K S95C Series Quantum HDR Smart TV. Samsung's flagship OLED TV has, at least for the moment, knocked LG off the OLED throne. The S95C TV relies on Samsung's latest generation of OLED panels, which integrate quantum dots into the equation to add extra brightness. OLED displays typically excel in contrast ratio, but that's because they can achieve such deep black levels that can kneecap their overall brightness. However, I spent time with Samsung's S95C in a brightly lit room and found myself very impressed with its performance. As a flagship-level display, this TV offers almost all the bells and whistles you want. All its ports live on an external box connected by a single wire to the display. That makes it very easy to install the super flat panel wherever you want while keeping all the ports accessible. The S95C comes toting 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, which is essential if you plan on doing high frame rate or high-res gaming on a current generation console. During the review period, I played the PS5 exclusive Returnal and found the visuals extremely crisp and the refresh rate very smooth. This panel natively runs at 120 Hz but can bump up to an even smoother 144 Hz in some situations. I also watched portions of a few movies, including the latest Venom movie, which taxes a TV by showing lots of fine details moving quickly across the screen with lots of contrast. The S95C managed to keep everything we like about OLEDs while adding the extra brightness that makes it viable in any space, even those with lots of ambient light. We haven't had a chance to test the LG C3 yet, which will likely find itself in close competition with the S95C, but we'll update this article once review units of the LG become available. Number 2. LG C2 Series 65-inch class OLED Evo Smart TV. The LG C1 was a blockbuster of a TV that took top honors in just about every TV buying guide back in 2021. The only real downside was its relative lack of brightness, typical of OLEDs. By adding quantum dot tech to an OLED panel, LG gave the C2 considerably more brightness than its already excellent predecessor. The C2 is technically a 2022 model, but the C3 is only just starting to roll out. While the C2 isn't the newest, it does offer the vast majority of what you'll find in the C3 for a fraction of the price. With the C2, you get 4 side-mounted HDMI 2.1 ports, all of which can handle 4K action at 120 frames per second. As for gaming chops, this TV offers native support for the GeForce Now game streaming platform, so you can game even if you don't have access to a PC or console. The C2 also supports several popular flavors of variable refresh rate technology, which prevents problems like screen tearing and game ruining lag from spoiling your time behind the controller. Even if you're not a huge gamer, the C2 is still a phenomenal all-around option, especially considering the lower price now that a new model has come around with updates. Lots of sizes to choose from. All HDMI ports are 2.1 for max compatibility. Brighter than previous models. Dynamic tone mapping for localized image improvements. G-Sync and FreeSync compatibility for variable refresh rates. Number 3. Sony OLED 65-inch Bravia XR A80K Series 4K Ultra HD TV. It may come as no surprise that Sony wants to add a little extra incentive for people to buy both its latest TVs and its gaming console. For the most part, this is a typical high-end OLED display. It offers the deep blacks and excellent contrast ratios you expect from an OLED. You also get some of the best AI-powered image upscaling you'll find in a TV thanks to Sony's XR processor, which analyzes the on-screen image and tweaks it for maximum performance. So, if you're not always watching native 4K content, and most of us aren't, it will still look good. Plug a PlayStation 5 into one of the 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, out of a total of 4, and this setup is capable of 4K gaming at 120 frames per second, even if consoles haven't quite caught up to those lofty specs just yet. The TV does, however, get special tone mapping abilities for more robust HDR performance exclusively with the PS5. Plus, those two HDMI 2.1 ports support variable refresh rate tech with the PS5 to avoid screen tearing and other unwanted effects. In many ways, this TV was designed to work ideally with the PS5, so if you consume most of your content through that console, this is a great choice. PlayStation 5 users get specific benefits due to Sony synergy. Excellent picture. Price has come down since release. Among the best upscaling you'll find. Ample contrast. Number 4. LG B2 Series 55-inch class OLED Smart TV. The LG B2 offers a lot of performance for its price. While this is technically a 2022 model, and the B3 is already on the market, the B2 offers all the features most users will ever need. It has a pair of the latest HDMI 2.1 ports, 2 of the 4 total HDMIs, both supporting 4K at 120 frames per second. So, if the current generation gaming consoles ever live up to their full potential, this TV can handle it. Like every OLED, the B2 offers sky-high contrast ratios with deep blacks and excellent color reproduction. As this isn't a flagship model, it doesn't offer the same kind of brightness you'd expect from displays that also integrated quantum dots. That's really only an issue if you're trying to put this TV in a room with a ton of ambient light. This will look fantastic if you have a space to pull the shades and turn off the overheads. Because this is a somewhat down-market option and has been out for more than a year, you can often find deep discounts on all 3 sizes. If you don't absolutely need the very best and the brightest, then you can get this display and leave lots of cash to pay for that ever-growing. Number 5. LG C1 Series 65-inch class OLED Smart TV. This was our best overall pick for some time, and it's still absolutely worth checking out if you don't need the most advanced features or the brightest display. You can often find it at a very solid discount. Across all of your content consumption, the C1 provides an excellent contrast ratio thanks to its super deep black levels. For movie watching, LG offers Filmmaker Mode, which turns off motion smoothing and tones down the vibrance and brightness to make the picture look more like what you'd expect at the theater. The C1 supports all the most popular flavors of HDR, as well as the 2 dominant variable refresh rate technologies, G-Sync and FreeSync, which gamers will appreciate. In fact, the C1 has a lot to offer gamers. All 4 HDMI ports support HDMI 2.1, giving you enough to hook up a PS5 and Xbox Series X for 4K/120 FPS gameplay. Plus, it boasts a 1 millisecond response time in gaming mode, which cuts down potentially game-ruining lag. It's not the brightest TV around, but that's also one of the few drawbacks of OLED TVs across the board. Aside from that quibble, the C1 has just about anything anyone could ask for, and it won't require ill-gotten crypto funds to afford it. Impeccable picture. Solid mix of features and price. Lots of size options. Excellent upscaling.